Hi folks, and in this video what we're going to do is create a basic shop listing of items and a user interface which will appear as the actual shop front end. Now to do this, what we're going to do first of all is create a brand new structure, and this is going to be for the objects within the shop. So we'll call this objects in shop, like so, and that will then create a brand new structure. Now for the objects within the shop, I'm going to have to make this all into arrays, and I'm going to need 3 bits of information. First of all, the name of the object, then the cost of the object, and then we're going to have some sort of image that we're going to use for the object. So we may play around with this to get it to work in a way that we're happy with, so we'll see what happens. So first of all, we need to have object name, and that needs to be a string, and that needs to be an array like so. And then we're going to have object cost, just like so. And for this, with our credit-based system, we're just going to use integers. We're not going to use a floating point system or a decimal system. And then finally, we are going to have a object image, and this is going to have to be some form of image system. So this is going to be the bit that we may have to play around with a few times because we need it to actually appear on a user interface. So in fact, what I'll do at this moment in time is, can I have it as a slate brush? I could have it as a slate brush, so would I be happy with that? I'll just add it as a slate brush for now, and we'll see what we can do. So what I've actually gone out and done is I've sourced a few images that we're going to use for our game. So I'm going to just create a folder here and call this sourced images, like so. And then I'm going to just throw in these board game images that I've found because that's what I want to base mine on, right? And these have actually come out as textures. I'm not sure if I can put a texture straight into a user interface. We'll have a look at this bit later. For now, I'm going to just add a little bit of data for these ones. So we'll call the games Dune, Root, and Gloomhaven. There you go, and we're just going to assign a value for them all. So we'll go with 30, 20, and 100. And then what we need to do is think about adding in a image for these. Ooh, let's just delete the last one there. We'll have a look at that in a second. I'm not 100% confident on it, so we'll have a look at how we build it first, and then we'll see what data we're actually going to put into there. So what we're going to now do is create a quick shopping screen. So we're going to create a new widget like so, and we'll call this shop screen, just like so. In fact, before we do that, we'll even go on to add the objects in shop to the actual game mode, because that'd be very, very useful at this moment in time. So we'll just call it shop objects and objects in shop. There you go. So again, it's calling from the actual game mode to find the data of the actual shop objects, which is what we wanted to do. Anyway, let's go on and let's build the shop. So we go onto the shop screen like so. We're going to have to think about the layout and the information that we want to have on here to start off with. As per usual, I'm going to have a universal design of a little bit at the top, which will tell us who the actual user is, who's logged in, and a little bit of details about how many credits they currently have in the bank. And we're going to do that quickly by doing the following. So I've added in another canvas panel just to be our header, and then we're going to add 2 text slots. The first one, we'll call this user name. There we go. Zoom in a bit like so. Make it about that big. We can change the actual size of it. Maybe we want to make it a bit bigger. And then we're going to go to the actual text content binding. Now this is going to allow us to do a bit of basic programming here, and we're going to do the following. First of all, we're going to cast to shop broadcast to shop game mode. That's what we want. Then we want get game mode. Then we want the account details, get account. Then we want to break the account details. Now, what we need to do is figure out who the actual user is, who we've logged in as. Now, that's a question because we didn't actually think about that within our actual last login screen. So what we're going to do is add a simple little bit of data just here. And that's going to be the following. We're going just to add a simple number and we'll call this user index. Just like so. Add this just here, so when this is all true, this happens. This is our login screen, by the way, and we're just going to set that to a number, which is going to be the found data here. That makes a lot of sense because we're going to need this user index to actually print out some information. In fact, before we do anything, I'm just going to check that that works. User index is, and just assign it to there. So if I just quickly compile this and log in, so if we log in as Bob1 and here's his password, it should say user index 0. That's fantastic. And if we do the same for Simon 3, and what's his password again? Let's just have a look. Cheat, have a look at the account details. It's just pass. There you go, index number 2. Fantastic stuff. So we now have this object index working. That is great stuff. And in fact, I'm not happy how I've created that because I've only actually created that on the single user. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the game mode and create a new variable and call this, it's going to be an index, current user index, just like so. And we're going to add this into our actual code. Right, so the current user index is now going to be the number which determines who is currently on. So instead of having the user index here, we're going to get the current user index instead. And we're going to do that by going to here to shipping game mode and go current user index, get this, ooh, we need to set it, current user index, set this, and this will then be the found index to our character, just like so. Compile, excellent stuff, and we'll just put that in for debug purposes at the moment. So now it's actually globally finding that out, so I can actually delete that user index off of here because we have the global one under the current user index under the actual game mode, which basically overturns everything. Now this is useful because I can now drag out of here and go current user index, do a quick get a reference, assign it to that reference and apply it here. So now what should happen is when I go to log in, let's go in with Bob1, password, boom. Oh, it's not actually appearing because we haven't told it to appear yet. Excellent stuff. This video is going well, I can tell you. So this shop screen is our new username. If we go onto the logon screen, we actually have a little bit of data here where we haven't actually set the new login. And to do that, just going to right click and break that widget. We're going to drag out and create a widget like so, drag a viewport, add to viewport like so to this, just assign that. And now if we go to class, we want it to be the shop screen. So now if I then compile the code, what should happen is if I log on with Bob1, password, it'll give me Bob1's details there. If I log on with Simon3 and its pass, it'll give me Simon3's data here. So now folks, we have a basic system for going and sending data from one page to another page using that lovely current user index. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message regarding that one, because I can admit it's quite complicated how I've gone through things, changed them and reworked them, but so is the life and thought process of any program. So yeah, any questions, let me know. Other than that, thank you for watching. Cheers.